Now, how do we actually build the blog network? And this is the second part of the video on how to do this properly. So I made a chart, and if you're going to be building your network, you can ask me for a copy to this chart, and I'll share it with you. And I don't want to just archive it somewhere because it might change, and you want to make sure you have the latest copy of it. But basically, what I'm showing you is on every day how many blogs they need to create, what kind of delays they need, how many posts they should generate, how many links those posts will create, and how many total posts you're going to get as you're building out your network, and also how long it takes to set one of these up. This includes the setup and the template. Actually, the template might take an extra 10 minutes to go and configure. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying every day you're doing, one blog, one blog, blog. But here's the thing: you're not supposed to just one day do a blog and just stop. Using a shopping cart lead, what you can do is you can actually schedule these ahead of time. So you can create 20 of these today, but say start this one tomorrow, start this one after tomorrow, start this one in 4 days, and so on. And eventually, what you're going to achieve as the end result, you're going to end up with 5,000 blogs that will be created in a 9-month period, generating 45,000 posts, which will translate to almost 500,000 one-way links pointing to your website. And I did a breakdown of how much work this actually involves. So we're talking about 50,000 minutes, 850 hours, 8 hours a day. This is 106 days of work. You should probably target 48 blogs a day to be created to meet this target, working 8 hours per day, and you'll finish the work in 5 months. Now, I know you're thinking that's crazy and nobody's ever going to do this, but you can actually outsource this on Odesk and get someone at $1 an hour. You have to just train them and manage them to do this for you, and you can probably do this whole thing for between $1,000 and $2,000 total if you're managing it yourself. Now, there's two steps in making this whole thing automating and outsourcing all the tasks. Besides having a manager and having a blog builder, you also need a link builder who's going to actually rank all of these blogs. So we're talking about hiring potentially 3 to 4 people to do this. So I mentioned a second ago that it might take $1,000, $2,000 to build this particular task. In total, it might take 4 people to do the whole job, so it could add up to $4,000 to $8,000 for the whole thing to be fully accomplished. And that's considering you're still managing the project. So even though you have a manager, you still need to overlook the manager to make sure all the other workers are doing their work. If you don't want to do it and actually hire someone like us to manage the whole project, then we would be talking about $4,000 to $8,000 plus the domestic labor to actually manage the whole project for 5 months. So it's a 9-month campaign, but the management and the building would take 5 months. Let me show you as a manager how the whole thing gets organized. So first thing I do is I hire an actual manager who knows every single task that needs to be accomplished, and he does everything from hiring and firing people to I do the paying the salaries, but he basically makes sure that they work every day, makes sure they have work. Bottom line is he is the one that does everything for the project. And I just speak to him once a day for 20 minutes to an hour if it needs to be an hour. Most of the time it's 20 minutes a day just to see how things are going, and he takes it from there. So this individual costs on average between $3 and $5 an hour. I use Odesk to hire them. I prefer individuals from Pakistan, even though really, it's a hit and miss on the country. But so far, anyone who I hired from Pakistan ended up being a lot better than other countries that I've hired from in the Middle East specifically. I've had good experience in Russia, but they're not going to be just $5 an hour. They're probably going to be like $10 an hour. So if you want to keep it on the low budget, then Middle East, I choose Pakistan. So this is the manager. Then the manager usually, I tell him go and hire other people to do these different tasks once I teach him how to do the tasks. And he basically takes it from there. So he just goes and hires people and tells me who he hired and so on. This is what the hiring spreadsheet looks like. So he shows me the profile, the name, the profile link, what he wants to get, and I tell him on how to evaluate it. I made another video specifically on how do you evaluate link builders if they know what they're doing. And keep in mind that most link builders, if they knew what they were doing, from a big picture perspective, they probably wouldn't be working on Odesk, and they probably wouldn't be charging $3 an hour for the service. They would be probably running their own company and charging a lot more. You really need to understand that you will never, ever get a professional, knowledgeable, well, maybe you could, but most likely you're not, an SEO person that knows what they're doing, and you just hire them and all of a sudden they're doing some magic on your site and doing all the right link building and ranking your site and doing everything the way it's supposed to be. You will never probably find that. Never meaning in most cases. Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll find it, but realistically you're probably not going to find it. You will find people who are going to know what they're doing with link building, so they'll know how to submit articles and directories and social bookmarks and all this the other stuff. So they're labor workers, but you need to make sure that you know what needs to be done for SEO and tell them how to do things right. And obviously you need to understand that you're taking the risk, you're taking the liability by telling them what to do, and you shouldn't leave it in their hands to go and do your backlink building for your blogs or your website. So in other words, when you hire someone like Shopping Lead, you're actually hiring our team who understands SEO and manages the project based on our rules, which, again, I will be happy to share it with you, but I'm not going to teach you the whole 9 yards. If you want to be an SEO expert, you should probably hit the books and and learn the basics first, and then just keep following like the SEO news for the latest updates. And again, if you're new to this, unless you're planning to be in the SEO niche and do everything yourself, you're not going to be an expert overnight. It's a lot of work. If you follow my blog, which is Igor Soshkin, and actually read the whole thing and go back to the day when I started the blog, I think you'll probably be pretty good in SEO, but you still need to see the big picture. And I actually have a few videos on my channel which kind of covers the big picture. Maybe you'll get it. I don't know how tech savvy you are, but if you go to youtube.com/myseo101 and go to organic SEO for Google, this one, how to see the big SEO picture using Ahrefs SEO tool. You can check that out, and obviously this is a paid tool, so you'll have to pay for the tool and sit there for every day and actually research and have your own opinion on what needs to be done. Let's go back to the recruiting. So when you get him to recruit individuals for the job, you just tell him what credentials are supposed to be and what they're supposed to know, and he goes on Odesk and he recruits them and he puts this whole thing, and then he recommends who I should get. So I told him to comment on this. You press Shift F2 to get a comment, and he puts a comment what he thinks, if I should look at them or not, and I mark them green or red if I want to hire them. So this is what that looks like. And then he has his own task list, and this is the recruit sheet. Now this sheet here, and again, I can share all these sheets for you if you want to build this whole thing, which will take time and money. Just let me know and I'll help you build this thing. One thing to keep in mind, most people are going to look at this and be like, you know what, this is not for me. I don't want to build this because I don't want to take the risk of this not working. I just showed you proof in the last video that this works. And if you do 5,000 of them, I'll put money on the table. I can even bet money with you that this is going to work. And if it doesn't work, whatever you've invested, I'll pay you and buy this whole network that you've built if you're very concerned that it's not going to work. It will work. You're getting short-term traffic, so it's not like you're going to build it and maybe you'll benefit from this in a year. As it's getting built, you'll benefit from it right away. And this is the only way you're going to grow. You can't just sit on your store and expect it to grow by itself. It will never grow by itself. You either have to create content or create more websites which will generate content and send the traffic back to you. That is the only way. I'm sorry. There is no other way unless you're going to do paid advertising. You want to do free traffic, free organic traffic, you need to build up content or build up microsites, which is what we're building here. So you have to do this if you want to get big organically. In fact, Car ID, which spent 5 years building what I'm showing you today, look at his traffic that he gets based on how many keywords he's ranked. So I'm using Ahrefs right now to build it. He's getting $160,000 a day worth of organic traffic. I apologize. I'm not sure if this is a day or a month that they're showing this, But in any case, it's $160,000 that he's getting traffic to his site, and he never started in the paid channels. He always started the organic channels, built it up, and then went into paid channels. He used a very similar method that I'm showing you here today over a 5-year period to get to where he is today. And he got results a year into it, which means you'll get results a year into it if you follow the schedule. All right, so this is how this whole thing is organized. So we have how many blogs? We have the blog URL. We have the anchor text. Notice I'm changing an anchor text, unique one. So I'm targeting the same word, U2 wheels, but I'm changing the anchor text slightly. Again, this is after Penguin update. When you watch this video, the rules might change, and you might want to follow my blog or just see if the rules changed with anchor texts. So this is not set in stone, but this is what I'm doing today. Then what keyword we're targeting. Now, what I'm doing with Sonny, who's doing my managing, I told him that go every day and update these Majestic links. Majestic is this software here, which is also a paid software, and he basically puts in the URL and sees if there was any links that got indexed or not. And if the answer is no, then he just puts a 0. So the reason why he's doing this is to kind of see if these links that link builders are building are quality or not, and if they're getting indexed or not. And again, I made another video, a part of this series, that talks about how to evaluate link builders and how to see if they know what they're doing. You might want to watch that video and come up with your own strategy on how to hire them and how to manage them. But this is how I'm managing them. So I'm basically saying, this is the URL, this is the link I want you to do, and I want you to do some on the blog, some on the social bookmarks, some on article directories, some on directory submissions. From what I've seen so far from people who are doing this, it ranks it pretty well. I don't have results today to show you how well this particular method ranked it, and these methods change all the time, so I don't want to say follow this particular method. You should follow whatever works at the time when you watch this video. Today, this method works. If you do a little bit links here and there, do blogs, do social bookmarks, articles, directories, do a few link exchanges, you can even add a link to your own website, it'll work. It'll rank the blog, and that's it. But nothing is set in stone, so you should understand what you're doing with the link building before you tell them go and do this thing. Now, the sheet I showed you is for the actual link builders. Now, to organize the links, what I do is I first tell the manager to go and create a link for this keyword, which will translate into this blog. And notice I put the word online at the end because Custom Wheels was taken. And I'm saying which company you're going to do this with, so Blogspot or WordPress or Tumblr and so on. And then I put here, was the template created, how many SEO links was done, what's with Majestic, was it synced with shopping cart leads, so the products are getting synchronized into it. And based on this, once this is created, because you still need to create a username and password to log in to this blog, which means you might have to create a Gmail account to log in, or a Hotmail or whatever email account you're going to use to create this blog. This is the spreadsheet that I use to organize it. So we have category, a username, password, type. Now the reason I have a category because when I give this to the link builders, I tell them make sure that whatever you're linking with is related to automotive or wheels or auto parts. That's why the category is there. Username and password is to log into the blog. This is the blog service we're using. This is the blog URL we're using. This is the keyword. And this is, the template. So right now, for the project that I'm showing you, I have a manager, which is individual one. So the manager is responsible for organizing all the workers and picking up whatever slack needs to be picked up, including creating Gmail accounts, for example. Then I have the second worker, which actually creates the blogs, actually does this schedule of creating all the blogs. And that same worker also syncs the blogs into shopping cart leads. So they do two things at once. Then I have the link builders that are ranking the actual blog. So there's 3 people involved. Now, the person that's creating the blogs, I'm also having them go back a few days a week and apply templates on them, which theoretically that should be another person. So there should be a person who manages, a person who builds the blogs and syncs them to shopping cart lead, a person who makes them look nice and maybe brings them back to life, and a person who does link building. So yes, you're talking about hiring a payroll that's going to run you, let's calculate what it's coming out to be. So if it's going to be $5 for the manager, and let's say you get a deal where you'll pay $2 $2 and $2. So you're talking about an $11 an hour worker is going to be 4 workers, which equals to $11 an hour at 160 hours a month. So you're talking about a $1,700 a month campaign while you're managing this yourself. You want to hire someone to do this internally in-house, or hire shopping cart lead to do it, add the domestic salary on top of that. But if you're going to handle the managing yourself to manage the big picture, then that's your expense if you want to do it right, and you're going to pay that for 5 months, right? So your total investment comes out to be $8,800. You're going to have a very, very successful business, in my opinion. I mean, Car ID was able to become a multi-million-dollar company. Here's your roadmap for a multi-million-dollar company. You can't afford it. Like I said, make this a 2-year campaign. Don't make it a 5-month campaign. So you're going to take $8,800 and divide it by 24 months. So it's only coming out to $366 a month, but you can't give up. You can't just do it for 2 months and say this is not working. Plus, as you're building this whole thing up, you're going to get more traffic, you're going to get more sales, so it should justify itself as the whole thing is getting built up. Now, obviously, you need to know what you're doing, so you might want to do this whole thing yourself first to get a feel for it, because you do have one shot at this. Once you start paying money, if you're doing something wrong and not getting any results at the end, you're going to waste your money and not get the results I'm telling you you're going to get. This is it. I mean, this is how you build up your huge network. And if you need any of these spreadsheets, I mean, you can theoretically just rerun this video and see how I organize the spreadsheets and organize it yourself the way you're comfortable with, because this is not like a set in stone how your spreadsheet should be organized. This is just how I did it. You can do it yourself just by looking at the video, or if you need help like getting the schedule of how many links should be done, let me know. If you're one of my clients, you'll know how to contact me and I'll share this with you. Okay, if you have any questions, just let me know, and I hope this video helped you, and I hope that you take action from what I showed you in this video.